Say you're another. Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, with my co-host, all dolled up from Sharby, interviewing Mr. Hiney from the Hiney Token. Mr. Hiney, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. Just grinding like always.
Heck yeah.
Good times.
I always see you guys in spaces. I always see you guys, and it's you, it's Doc, and then there's how many people do you have in that group chat over on X?
Yeah, so we've got about 6 people in the leadership role that run the spaces. So we got myself and Doc, Scott. He does a morning show. Homer, Ko. He's our artist and graphics guy, and then we've got Mike as well. So 6 of us.
So the artist and graphics guy, is that for like videos? Is that for memes? Is that for comic books?
It's possibly. Actually, he's being instrumental in the NFT build out that we're doing. So he's got a lot of the, he's building out all the NFTs and the layers and everything that goes in that. So, and he also helps out with some of the memes that we do.
Okay, so I can't wait to get into the NFT aspect, but before we do, why Hiney coin? Why not butt coin? Why not booty coin? Why not ass coin? Why Hiney specifically?
Yeah, I mean, just listen to it. It's funny, right? It's playful, it's cheeky, right? So to speak, pun intended. So, yeah, I mean, that's the whole reason. That's actually one of the reasons why I started the project was, all these kind of Bitcoin mimic meme coins were coming out. And I was like, hey, let me think of something just kind of different and just cheeky, if you will. And that's kind of how I came up with it.
Okay, so they got that one, and there was part of it because other stuff was taken. Be like, well, ask coin's already a thing, or but I don't know if they are.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I wanted something that was a little bit more, I guess, not as vulgar, if you will. Something like I said that was more playful. And the others are a little bit kind of target a different crowd, if you will. And
Yeah.
I'd like to kind of generalize and target a bigger kind of crowd, if you will. So
When someone makes a website, like let's say if it's rootbeer.com, they'll also get the domain for like rootbeer.eth or rootbeer.net, rootbeer. Whatever. Is that a plan for you guys saying like, hey, we're the butt coin and we want to be the butt coin. So would you ever make tokens like for butt coin, ass coin, just to shelve them, just be like, okay, here's this, absolutely nothing's going into it. And this way other people can't do it and try to compete?
It's definitely run through our minds, but it's not something that we're prioritizing or thinking about really. Right now, it's just about growing our community, growing our project, trying to spread the word, get more exposure, get more visibility. But maybe down the road, that's something we prioritize. But right now, it's not really on our priority list.
So you have obviously you're at Hiney Coin. That is the thing where everyone goes over on X. How did you get 6,800 followers so quickly? Was that happen to be yours like beforehand and then you changed it?
No. I'll give you a little bit of background. So first off, I started this project from scratch, right? About 2.5 months ago, early April. I got really fed up with and really frustrated by the meme coin space, all the rug pulls, the pump and dumps. And really, I hate to be so harsh, but the scammers, there's a lot of scammers out there, right? And it's unfortunate because the Solana blockchain, even just any type of blockchain or cryptocurrency, crypto technology, there's a lot of good things and a lot of use case for it. And I hate to see this black eye that kind of stains the Solana blockchain. And so I just got fed up. I was frustrated. I didn't know anything about building a project. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and control this myself and have my community have some control as well. So I just had this vision of what I wanted to do. Obviously, I came up with Hiney Coin because I thought it was cheeky and playful, and people could kind of, it would resonate with people. But really, the whole thing was about having this built with integrity, transparency, authenticity, and I think that's really resonated based on how our community has grown. So I actually started on Telegram. I didn't know anything really about X. I had an X account. I still have a personal X account. I have like a couple hundred followers, right? Nothing crazy. I never really joined spaces. Well, I joined some spaces, but Telegram was all brand new to me. So I started in Telegram. and just kind of built it organically. Just started getting people kind of spreading the word, doing some contests, doing some giveaways and things like that. And then slowly but surely, my message, the approach just kind of resonated, and it just kind of built from there. And then I was fortunate enough to get approached by some people that are very, very familiar with X and the platform itself, and how to kind of leverage it and monetize yourself and things like that. So that's you mentioned Doc and those guys, they know this stuff inside and out. So it's been instrumental in our growth as well on X. So really, it's just been organic growth based on our messaging.
And is Doc someone that you knew beforehand, or did he just come out of the woodwork and be like, hey, what is this? And you guys just partnered up?
No. So like I said, I started about 2.5 months ago, the project. We launched the token probably about maybe a month ago, not a little less than a month ago. And I've been doing these AMAs, and I actually had a couple people reach out to me, and Doc was actually he was a co-host on one of the AMAs that I was on. And I think one of his buddies, Homer, reached out to me, DM'd me, and was like, hey, I like what you're doing, and just kind of introduced me to Doc. And, we just traded some DMs, talked to each other, and got to know each other, and it just jived. And, the biggest thing for me is in this space is, who can you trust, right? There's so many bad actors and nefarious. I hate saying that, but there really is. I mean, I was scammed so many times throughout this process. And so just kind of talking to them just gave me just made me felt like they were trustworthy people, and they've been great. So that's really how I met them.
So when you're talking about the project, it's now just a couple months old, and you're looking at NFTs. Is this your first time that you'll be able to get revenue, or did you have something already?
No, I don't have any revenue coming in right now, right? I mean, again, I built this from scratch. I built it as a meme coin, and I don't even want to call it a meme coin anymore. We've actually kind of rebranded, and we're calling it a community coin, because it's really about the community. But the other things that are kind of coming are, the NFT infrastructure build out to do that and provide some utility to our community and future community members. Then also the staking infrastructure. So I don't know if you know, but we actually we signed a partnership with Hello Moon. I don't know if you're familiar with Hello Moon.
No, tell us about that.
Yeah, so they're one of the biggest blockchain tech infrastructure companies out there. They're actually based in New York City, right down the street from Solana headquarters. I actually had them approach me because they were interested in kind of community-driven, long-term type of projects. So they reached out to me, and I met up with them, and we struck a deal to partner up so that they can help us out, build out the tech side of the infrastructure for the staking and the NFT infrastructure. So yeah, I mean, again, these things, it really wasn't on my roadmap when I first started, but just because I've surrounded myself with great crypto minds, it's been very beneficial for not only me and the project, but for the community as a whole. So,
and you don't have to, if you're saving the roadmap, you don't have to say it right now, but what would be some of the immediate and long-term goals of the Hello Moon partnership?
Yeah, like I said, the biggest thing is to get the staking infrastructure in place, because, this is a long-term growth project. So I want to be able to recognize and reward our long-term holders and investors. So I think that's very important. And, we're getting there. I was hoping we get there, last week, or the end of this month. Maybe we can get there by the end of the month. But, so that's important for me and for our community members that are really committed. They're committed into holding. And so we want to reward them for that. And then the NFT part of the house is, they're really trying to, help us build that infrastructure, right? So we've got KO, who's our artist. He's doing all the NFT, like art design and layers and all that stuff. To me, this stuff is kind of over my head. I don't know a lot about it. But he's working with the Hello Moon folks to kind of build out the infrastructure and get that organized. So that and it is a slow process. It does, there's a lot of things in Web3 that move very, very quickly, as you know. But some things you got to kind of pump the brakes and, take a step back just to make sure that you get it right. So that it's a good user experience for our community and future members.
And now that you are doing the NFTs, how are they going to be like collectibles? Is it going to be something that you say like, no, like whoever wants to mint them, it's going to be unlimited mint. That's our revenue. How are you guys playing it?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, right? So right now we've got a white list of about 200 that we're releasing really to our early kind of, members in our community. So I think we've given out maybe over 75 now. So there's still about 100 left. So we want to reward those folks. But yeah, I think, for the future, we're still kind of, playing it by ear. We don't want to like lock ourselves into, hey, we're just going to do collectibles. We're going to do it this way. We want to kind of keep our options open for now and just kind of grow organically based on, what the community really wants. Right. It's not about me. It's not about our leaders. We can kind of provide the platform and I guess, just kind of what the community really needs. Right. Because we want the community's feedback and then we want to just provide that for them.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with not just the like anyone could like pay for followers, right? But it's the fact that you got the group chat's always booming and people are always saying like, hey, come join this space. So people from the community are always active. Is that, how did that come about? Is it people that just like tried to sign from other communities? Like, hey, here's what we could do. We'll give you tokens if you come be an active community member here.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, what is like a community coin? What does that really mean, right? So you got meme coins where everybody's kind of trying to make a quick buck, maybe 100x something, right? And just make some money. But the community coin is, I actually I refer to a family coin just for me, because we're trying to grow our community to be successful and grow in different ways, right? So we've got so many creative minds and talents around this Web3 space. And what we want to do is provide a platform and a community where we can kind of all come together and showcase those skill sets and be better. Whether you got strengths or weaknesses, we want to take advantage of both, right? So if you got a strength, we want to, we want to fine tune that, right? And provide a platform to, get you more exposure, get you more visibility. If you got weaknesses, we want to help you, right? Get confident, grow. And it could be anything, right? It could be like, I come from the IT business industry, right? So I can help on, just kind of business negotiation, sales, those type of things. We've got other people that can help on, philosophical things, right? And just kind of build confidence around that. Even just like graphics and artists, we got so many of those brilliant minds. We've got a couple like NFT gurus that, like Gen X, she was on yesterday doing like a 2-hour session on NFTs, just kind of the basics, but we had so many people in there interacting. So we're just trying to provide these spaces to build, people up, like, so they can build their personal brand, whether they're there to monetize themselves, because we've got a couple people like Doc and Mike that really know, Elon's algorithm on X and how to take advantage of that. And so, there's that portion of it, but there's also just kind of building your personal brand and being professional. And so if you can be professional, in your own way, it'll help the community. And then ultimately, the Hiney token will take care of itself as well.
So on the actual token, so there is the $900,000 market cap, very respectable. And there's 70,000 in liquidity, and that says that's locked. How long is that locked for?
Yeah, so when I created the liquidity, first off, we didn't launch on Pump Fund. We launched on Radium. So we used Launch Lab to launch, and we locked up 25% of the liquidity when we launched. So it's a 6-month lock. Obviously, when that time comes, we'll probably just lock it up again. There's no reason to do anything else. I didn't want to burn it because I feel like, I just want to keep the options open, but I also, at the same time, I want to make sure that, the community and people that are maybe investing, don't feel like this is going to be a rug. So, you lock it and you can't do anything with it. So hopefully, it kind of creates a little bit more stability for folks as they, want to invest.
And so this might be wrong. It says 338 holders, and there's so that is correct. But they have a decent volume, 4,700, almost 4,800 on the day.
Yeah, it's so again, this is one of those. It's weird, right? You go on Pump Fund, and you guys have all been on, whether it's Axiom or something you're trading, and you got millions and millions of dollars in volume, and things go up and down, and it's super volatile, and it's fun as well. But this is really, everybody keeps referring to it as a slow cook, if you will, right? We're not in a hurry to grow to 10 million, $100 million market cap. We're going to grow based on how the community grows. And, people, it's going to, it's already attracted people, investors. Obviously we would love to have that $1 million volume, but you get super, super volatile. But we just want people that are long-term investors and holders, and that are committed to not just the token, but are committed to our community and our project. So, so yeah, it's not the growth that you would want to see normally in the meme coin space, but that's okay, because we're actually, you know, differentiating ourselves from that space. We're a community coin, and that's we're going to grow based on, you know, however that grows.
And on the staking that you guys are doing, what's the APR on that, and what's the, or APY, and then what's the, how long can you lock it up for, the minimum, the max? And
Yeah, so you know, it's a good question. We haven't really worked out. It's going to be double digits APY, but I want to work on kind of a ladder system. So based on like, hey, if you invest, you know, if you lock up for a month, obviously it's a lower APY. If you go a little bit longer, it goes up, it increases, and then if you lock it up for even longer, it's even better APY. So yeah, so those details, you know, we're still kind of hashing out, but that's kind of the infrastructure and the framework that we want to set up.
okay, so there's, I was like, all dolled up. You've done this with Sharby. Any advice or any hints on timeframes and rewards?
No, it's funny when we say slow cook though, because you know sometimes as we all know, and those listening probably know, it's just sometimes the community wants something every day, right? Like every day. I remember it's like if you weren't in the TG posting some announcement, some update, your next step, you felt like you were going to lose that hold on the community. And I think when you talk about a meme coin versus a community coin, it's really what's shifted probably the last 2 years, right? We've seen that, like, you know, with Sharby right now, we've been working on our platform since September, and it's quiet. And you get to a point where you have your community, and that's okay, right? And to be okay with that, because if you go in and you do your research, say on Hiney Coin, you're going to have those things that are there, which is so important to do. But there's going to be the certain things that are there, like you said, the community is active. They're having these spaces. They're educating. I don't know. It's like this finicky thing. It's like, will what we do ever be enough? And I think it's the communities that can kind of transcend that meme, and provide something for their investors, right? So I think, you know, why am I investing in this? And sometimes it is the community piece. That's it. That's why. But I think it will happen organically if we don't give up, right? Because we're so early and there's so much room for all of us. On the staking, you know, the only thing in my advice is finding what strategically works for your token and your community and taking that into consideration, because sometimes if there is, or like, you know, you go to hold a certain amount of time, you don't want to get in a situation where you have that sell pressure, or people don't invest because they know that, like, you know, that's more towards vesting. But, you know, you just have to think strategically for each of the communities and keep going. I think right now we are in a time where the definition of a meme coin, it has shifted, right? And when the time comes, and those moments come, there's real world companies coming into crypto right now. I think that to have that serious mindset, yet have that playful side to Mr. Hiney or Hiney Coin is genius, because they want to see real investors, right? Not the ones in there looking for the giveaway or the, you know, the airdrop or something, but real investors are going to look for that serious, like, okay, they're serious, playful. And I think that can lead to great success with patience and time.
There's a, thank you for that. This is obviously a pretty horrible market that we're in right now, the last few months.
Yeah.
And I just, a buddy of mine just texted me. So apparently Iran's about to attack like one of the biggest bases in the Middle East, whether it's in Qatar and so obviously you can't like plan for this. Like nobody was planning for like this type of other conflict here. But how do you, like, it's already, like, you guys already launched. You can't delay the launch. You've already been out for a while.
They're out there.
How do you roll? How do you roll with the punches? How do you go in and say, okay, this is what's
Well,
happening? Do you meme it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have many spaces a day, right? So we start at actually 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a space for about an hour, hour and a half, and then we roll into some of the other communities that we support, right? So we support Doginal Dogs, we support the Digi Joints, and a couple others. So, and then we have a noon. We usually have a noon. So I think there's one going on right now. And then we have one later in the day, and then Doc has one that he does with the Doginal Dogs and kind of puts, he talks about Hiney Coin a little bit too, and then we might have a late night one. So just from a consistency standpoint, I think that's probably the most important, is that we all do show up, including me, right? I mean, I don't even like to categorize myself as a dev. I'm just a person, just like everybody else, but I want to make sure that I show up and I'm consistent. And, if people got questions, they can ask. So I think that's really most important, but rolling with the punches. I mean, this is crypto, right? It's so volatile. I mean, it's funny because, when I got in crypto in 2017 or so, everybody used to talk about, the decentralization of it. And, it should be basically the opposite of what the markets are going to do. And, it's actually become more and more mainstream now, especially with the financial institutions as they start to adopt it more, that it's actually, reflecting more so like the markets, right? So it's kind of interesting how that's kind of changed and evolved over the years. But you just got to roll with it, right? I mean, I tried to, we tried to, our leadership tries to just kind of reassure our community, right? There's always going to be ups and downs, but the biggest thing is don't panic, right? We all we see those big red candles, and we start panic selling, and FUD is a real thing, and we need to just avoid that, right? As long as we're committed to the community and what we're trying to do, we're going to be successful in the long run. So, again, this is a long-term play. There's going to be some ups and downs. I mean, actually, like when we first launched, I think like a week in, we actually went up to like almost 1.4 million market cap. And then it went down to I want to say it went down to like 400 and something thousand market cap after like a week. And then it just bounced right back up. Like a couple of days later, it bounced right back up to 1 million. And it's just been kind of flirting in, between 800 and 1 million. So, I mean, again, it's going to take care of itself, but, FUD is a real thing, but it's our jobs to kind of just reassure people that, hey, this is a long-term project, and, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah. There's a couple, I guess it depends on if you have dry powder on the side, one of your favorite projects, it gets cut in half, let me buy some more.
Right.
But then you have people that already threw their money in. They're like, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of crazy emotions. I never thought that looking at traffic around the pizza parlors next to the Pentagon would help us decipher what crypto is going to do next.
Yeah.
But it does.
It does.
It's very crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So we had inked a deal with you guys and daCAT recently, and there is a comic book store. So I have to finish Nike the Pig, which I should finish by the end of this week, I hope. And then I think Digi Joints when they come back from NFT NYC either this week or the next week. But we went over a couple of stories or ideas that we could do for that. What do you want to get out of the relationship with daCAT and going on VeVe? What's your goals with them?
Well, so I think you kind of understand why we started Hiney Coin. It's kind of this whole narrative on Solana and meme coins, right? And so that's really the message that I want to expose, right? So in your comic that you're going to be doing some writing and build out our character, hopefully we can convey that message, right? So that's really what it's about. I mean, like I said, I love crypto. I'm just a crypto enthusiast. I mean, I have a 9-to-5 job. I'm not like some big developer crypto guru, but I love it. I think there's a bright future ahead of it. But we really need to weed out, this kind of black eye, all this kind of scam and rugs and pump and dumps out of it. You're not going to get all of it out of it because, it's decentralized, and that's kind of the whole point of it. But, eventually we'll probably get some better guardrails around it. But it's, it's a responsibility of people like me and our community to kind of, start moving that trend towards, being more transparent and being, having integrity and having some really good values. So that's the message that I want to convey, in your work.
The good values part, I tend to write a lot of debauchery, So the good bad.
I mean, hey, you can have you can still kind of put some debauchery in there, and
I
with
guess like South Park, at the end, there's
I
always a
love South
lesson.
Park. Who doesn't like South Park, right?
Yeah, there's like a lesson at the end of each
That's
thing. It's
right.
like,
There's
hey,
a
this is
lesson,
what we learned. Yeah.
lesson to be
Okay.
learned. That's
Do
right.
that. That's fun. Would love to bring you in the universe. There's so many different things that we could do. And there's not, I don't know how it happens. Each one is obviously their own individual story, and then we bring into the fold a bit later. The Saitama Wolf Project one, though, that I don't know what, I don't think I was like going through anything, but the story led to, it's hard. I mean, it's great. It's a great story, but it's like, oh my God, this is so sad. And I feel like yours will be the complete opposite of that, where it'll be a bunch of 20 somethings that have this idea and just shenanigan, and how they get the idea. Okay, we'll go through that, but that'll be fun. What is your 9 to 5 job?
Yeah, so I'm in sales, IT sales. So I've been in IT I was in telecom. If anybody knows what telecom is, my first job out of college was with MCI WorldCom. I don't know if anybody knows who they are, but they were one of the, big kind of I'm kind of older, right? So, I started work at the height of the .com boom, and, there's a bunch of startups, and Verizon eventually kind of overtook that. And there's been all these cycles, but I've been in IT for, over 20 years. And, so I'm on the sales side of the house. I've worked for, big companies like IBM and General Dynamics. And now I'm with a smaller company, although they're publicly traded, but, smaller company than an IBM. So, yeah.
And I mean, I feel like in IT, especially in sales, the salaries can be quite high. You said 9 to 5. I feel like for sales, though, a lot of people, like, you got to talk to them when they get off work. You got to, especially on like the West Coast, you got to talk to them when they have like a drink in their hand after 5 o'clock. So is it really 9 to 5, or is it more like a 3 to 10?
Yeah, it's more like 8 to 6, right? Because my territory. So I'm in management now. I was more in the field, but now I'm in the management role, which I enjoy, because there's a mentorship aspect of that, which I really like. Which is probably why I like building this community. It's I love people kind of growing and being successful. So yeah, I mean, so my territory is really kind of mid-Atlantic all the way out to Texas. So I do have to cover Texas, which is an hour behind usually. So yeah, it's good. And sales is I'm not your typical sales guy where I can go out there and sell this pen like a Grant Cardone or someone like that, right? But I'm more of a people person, right? It's all about people. It's all about relationships and building trust. And that's how I do my selling. And really, that's how I've been building our community too, the Hiney Coin community, because it's all about people. And I want to make sure that everybody trusts each other. They trust the leadership. They trust me on what we're trying to do. And, we're just trying to do that. And it's all about relationships and people at the end of the day.
I told the daCAT community, when we get to a $10 million market cap, I'll get a daCAT tattoo. When Hiney Coin tattoo for you?
Well, I've got 3 tattoos. There's one that I got one right out of college, or actually during college, and I wish I could get it removed, but it takes forever to get one removed, and it's really expensive. But maybe we'll set the bar at 10 million market cap, and I maybe get a small one somewhere, a small one. I could do that.
Should get it on your Hiney. That'd be great.
I'll ask my wife if she wants to do that. I don't know about me, but yeah, maybe we'll see.
That'd be perfect, because then you just right, bring it down, and then that's the advertising, and then live streaming it would be cool too.
There you go. See, already thinking ahead. Good marketing.
I haven't gotten a tattoo in years, but I actually just set an appointment. I'll be in Florida. That's where my tattoo artist is now, in August, and I don't know what I'm gonna get yet, but it'll be something. Deposits down, so we'll see. What would you? All right, so you have the liquidity that's locked in the token. How much is in the marketing wallet, and how much is Hiney Coin, and how much is other stuff like Sol or ETH?
Yeah, so I've actually I've created a couple of posts on the top like wallets, and I think maybe like the top 7 wallets I'm aware of who owns them. The other couple I'm not too sure who they are, but I think there's actually two liquidity pools. There's one that's locked up. There's another one that, again, I didn't know what I was doing because I'm new to this, and I created my own liquidity pool in Radium. And so that's not going anywhere. It's not locked up. I could easily lock it up, but I'm not doing anything with it. It's just kind of sitting there, just be there as an option in case something happens and we need to do something. But the third wallet is actually the community wallet. That holds the majority of the tokens that are out there from a wallet standpoint. There's about 80 million tokens in that wallet, and that is the community wallet. I've actually come out and already, told that to my community. So that's really for the airdrops, which we don't do a lot of airdrops, but we do a lot of giveaways because we want to make sure that, the people that are most active, the most engaged, that are really coming in and helping our community grow, we want to make sure we take care of them. And so we do a lot of giveaways. And so we take from that pool for that reason. So yeah, I mean, and then, there's some other wallets out there too, that I know who the holders are and they're long-term investors. So yeah, that's how that works.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Going to the long-term holders, I know you said you don't do a ton of airdrops, but is any of the NFTs or is there anything that's going to be super scarce that if somebody buys, they're like, okay, we gotta give you this. We got to give you X, Y, and Z, like a tiny statue.
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, I'm learning about the NFT space, right? So I know there's a a term that you guys know called rarities, right? So there's that whole thing, and so I don't know how that works, the mechanics behind it all, but I think that's something I'm interested in, for providing to our community. So there's that portion of it. The other thing is so Doc actually just came out with the idea of doing poker games for our community, and we actually had a test run yesterday, and it was very successful. And so the way that we're going to do it, and we're still kind of, yesterday was our first dry run, so we got time to kind of vet it out and fine tune it and everything. But what we're going to do is we're going to burn the majority of the tokens. So we're going to reward the top 2 or 3, I think top 2 winners. And then we're going to burn the rest. And I think like 5% goes to the person that manages it or something like that. So, we're going to have some burning mechanism to provide some scarcity with the token itself. That's just one way to do it. There's going to be obviously other things that we can do in the future that probably I haven't even thought of. So I'm open to suggestions and ideas. And we always take feedback from the community as well, because they're most important. So
cool. There is a chance that you guys get some. Well, obviously, you'll have the NFT comics on VeVe. That'll be generally they do 1 of 1,000, and VeVe keeps like 10. So there's that. There'll be the common, the uncommon, the rare, ultra rare, and secret rare.
Yeah.
And for the rest of us, we're just doing like airdrops. If you get number 69, 420, or like you stack a certain amount in the comic, but if it does really well, like if it sells out like pretty quickly, there is a chance that you get like a high-end 3D digital collectible, and then it could be used in their metaverse called the VeVeverse, and you could have. I would love like a butt statue, like if you ever watch SpongeBob.
My younger sister was a huge SpongeBob. I watched it a little bit, but she was like, she's got all the clothes and slippers, and I mean, just everything. Everything. She's
awesome. We'd get along.
Yeah.
So there's one where Mr. Krabs hires SpongeBob and Patrick to like paint his house, and he's like, if you have 1 drop of paint on me first dollar, I'm gonna have your butts. And then you see like their butts like in a frame. And I think something like that would be cool, like a butt that you could hang on the wall, or a butt that you could. This could get weird, but something like that.
It could get weird. We've had some interesting weirdness on some of our spaces because of that, but just it's part of it. Whatever, it's fun.
Yeah. And then there's I would say that. But if you had a high-end 3D collectible, would it be a person with a booty? Would it be multiple people with multiple booties? Be like, you ever see those wristbands say like, all boobs matter? Like the smaller they like.
Yeah.
Would you have something to say like all booties matter, all sizes matter?
Well, it would have to be all Heinies matter, because that's the correct vernacular. That's okay. People say booty or butt. I try to correct them and say, hey, it's actually Hiney, so get it right. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe just one person and showing their Hiney. I mean, that's I like simple, right? So that's probably the route I would go.
Are you on TikTok at all?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we just started doing, right? So we're trying to branch out to the other social media platforms. So we just started an Instagram account. I think we've got like 35 followers right now, right? So I mean, we're really nascent. We're really, just starting out. And then same with TikTok, right? We've got a, ironically, or I don't know, ironically, but we have a pretty big West Africa and Nigeria presence, because when I started when I started this project in Telegram, a lot of my mods and admins were from Nigeria. So, they were the ones that kind of helped recruit people, and it was from the West Africa, area. And so we've got a lot of people, a lot of great talent from that region. And one of the gentlemen, just he goes by T Best. He just started a TikTok account for us, and they've had some live streams and some pretty good energy. I still haven't been able to get in there. I'm not a TikTok guy. I've never been on TikTok, and I tried to get on there. I couldn't do the live space because I've had some technical issues, but yeah, I mean, so we're just trying to diversify, branch out, get more visibility, more exposure. And that's also the beauty of our community is it doesn't matter what walk of life, you're from. It doesn't matter what your background is, what your gender, your religion, belief, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We're a very inclusive community. We've got people from West Africa, South Africa, Europe, Romania, obviously the United States, and all in between. So, we highly encourage, people from all over. And that's the beauty of Web3. I mean, it's anywhere on this globe. And that's what's beautiful about it, because I would never have met anybody from Nigeria or West Africa or South Africa had I not started this project. And it's just been amazing just to kind of learn a little bit about them, their cultures, and things in their customs. So it's been rewarding from that standpoint for sure.
There's a
I love that. I just have to say, I love that. I have two on our team that have been, I don't know, with us over almost a little over 2 years, but they're like my sons, and like they call me mom, but like the people that we meet, and like you said, like from that region, like I have met some amazing people, and I don't know, sometimes like you think it's kind of, you go through a moment where the chart, like it's different, like you're building your community and your project, and like there are so many rewards in it, in the Web3 space, that like sometimes we tend to forget if we hyper focus on something. So I love that for the Hiney project, because I feel that same sentiment. Yeah, that's awesome.
Awesome.
Sorry.
Nigeria, at some point, Ajuri Ngalale, who is the first special presidential envoy on climate action for Nigeria, will be coming on the podcast. I don't know when, though. They have pretty hectic schedules.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. And I am definitely going to talk about daCAT and all of our partners. So he'll know what the Hiney coin is. He might not know what it is, but he'll know the name. So we'll get who's the biggest, I guess, celebrity, or who's the biggest person that you have that you know is in the community, or can you not say?
Yeah, there's probably some under the radar that we don't know about. I mean, we had a space. That's the beauty about these spaces is, they're public facing, so you never know who's going to join and step in. And we actually had, what's his name? The Brooklyn Brawler. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's Steve Lombardo. He's a old, like, I don't want to say old, that's the wrong term. He's an 80s and 90s wrestler. He was part of the WWF, and then obviously they changed it to WWE. So he was a big time wrestler that I grew up watching, and he was on our space. And Scott actually saw him in the space and said, "Hey, is that really the Brooklyn Brawler?" And so he actually came up to speak, and he was like, for 10, 15 minutes, he's just like inspired and motivated all of us. Like he was just had this beautiful energy and presence. And so hopefully he's a fan of Hiney coin now, but yeah, I mean, you know, there's people out there, I'm sure, that probably have heard of our project and community. But yeah, I don't think there's anyone big that I know of that I'm aware of at this current time.
Yeah. So you know he definitely likes the booty.
Yeah.
You know he's an
Who
X-Man.
doesn't?
He's a Hiney man.
That's right. Who doesn't?
So I would love to see somebody come. Like, do you know that big guy from TikTok that just has cake on his booty?
No, I
I'll
don't
try
know.
to find it. Where's he at here? This is gonna sound so horrible. I'm just gonna search big booty guy and
Here we go. Oh, I know who you're talking about. Are you talking? Is it? He's on X too. It's.
is he?
Yeah. Is it? Shoot. What's his name? God.
Oh, it like blocked it. I typed in big booty guy and it says like no results.
Oh,
Like,
really? Yeah.
there's
TikTok
no
is
way.
kind of strict. Yeah. TikTok's got some restrictions there. Yeah. What's his name? Shoot, I can't remember his name. But yeah, he actually launched a token, probably like a few months ago. Yeah, that's him. That's him. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did he launch?
He launched, I don't know, I forget the name of it. But yeah, he launched a token and he's hilarious, man. His content is so funny. I don't understand why his token hasn't like taken off because, you know, he's got great content and, you know, but it is what it is.
Got that cake. I love that guy. That dude is hilarious.
He is.
I think my favorite video was when there's like a drone that's filming him. He's running on like a treadmill. And then the drone comes out and it's on this like $100 million yacht that he's running on this treadmill. I was like, oh my God, there's no people are nuts. But that I think some viral ideas for marketing would be something like that. I mean, obviously you'd have to know someone with $100 million yacht, but I don't know, Hiney coin. Have you seen like Duolingo and their
Yeah, I've seen it. And by the way, that guy, his name is Frankie LaPena, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Giat coin, if I'm pronouncing that
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, I am familiar with that. And there's so many ways to tackle this, to be honest with you. But yeah, I like that guy, Frankie LaPena. I think it would be perfect. I've actually reached out to him a couple of times. He hasn't responded, but that's okay. I'm sure he gets DM'd nonstop. So maybe I'll try to reach out to him again to see if he wants to maybe partner up or something. But
did you reach out on X?
Yeah, on X. Yeah, he's got, let me see how many followers. I just looked him up. He's got about 17,000 followers, so he's got a pretty good community. I mean, his stuff is funny. I don't know why he doesn't have more. I would think he'd have like hundreds of thousands of followers, but
yeah,
he's got some funny stuff out there.
We'll see about. I was saying you might need to like rate him. Do you guys have a Telegram?
We do, yeah. So Telegram was where we actually started. We got about a little over 1,000 members on Telegram, and actually, like I said, most of my team, my mods and admins are Nigerian, and they do an excellent job managing that space and that community. So yeah, we do a lot of things in there.
Yeah, you gotta like have his notifications on, and then whenever he posts something, you just gotta rate him.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yo, Hiney coin.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna make a note of that because we try to rate some different influencers and KOLs out there, but we want to make sure that it's the right ones, right? There's a lot of them out there that just, they're kind of in it for the wrong reason. Not to denigrate anybody like that out there, but we just want to make sure it's the right person and the right influencer.
Yeah. So when this becomes a success, at what market cap can you kind of sneak away from your 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 and be like, all right, Hiney coin full time, baby?
Man, I would love that. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I have no clue, right? Is it $25 million market cap? I have no idea. Really, I'm not really focused on that. I'm just focused on the community. And like I said, as the community grows, as more and more people become successful, as more people become leaders in our different, because we've got different groups as well. We're kind of creating these like mini type of DAOs, if you will. that, you know, eventually we'll have a little bit more infrastructure around, but they're different groups to kind of showcase the different community talents. So, you know, we've got one for, you know, artists and, you know, graphics, and, you know, we've got one for leadership, and, you know, we've got a couple others as well. So we're kind of building it out that way. So, you know, the point is, you know, we're just trying to grow in different ways, and, you know, so, and just allow our community to, you know, focus on what their real strengths are and showcase that. Yeah, it's fun, man. I really enjoy it. It's a grind, I must say. It's a grind, especially having a 9-to-5 job, and I've got a family, right? I got a wife. I got a 20-month-old. I've got a 19-year-old who just graduated high school. So it's crazy, but I love it because
you are stressing me out, good sir. That.
It's stressing my wife out more so than me.
Probably, this made me laugh.
Yeah.
Your 19-year-old, I'm curious, are they in Web3 or interested in it? What is their take on it? Because our children are like 12, 13, 14, and 15. Yeah. And I'm trying to tell them how important it is, one, to figure out AI, and two, you know, decentralized finance. And our 14-year-old son has invested, so he's created a wallet and he has his stuff. But like, I'm just curious if your older child is in it and interested in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's very interested in it. She's always asking, "Hey, how's Hiney doing?" You know, all that stuff. But out of curiosity, she's more on the social media stuff. I don't know about the, you know, the Web3, so to speak, right, or the decentralized, like DeFi and DApps and all things like that. But I think eventually she'll get there. I mean, she's, like you said, she's kind of that younger generation, so I'll probably get her a little bit more exposure to it. You know, but yeah, my wife, on the other hand, she's like, "What are you doing? Why are you on this 11 o'clock?" So who are you talking to? You're just talking to strangers. And yeah, she doesn't really understand it, but you know, I'm trying to educate her as much as I can. But
I didn't either. Don't worry. If you've ever heard me speak on a Spaces, I despised crypto and wondered why it took my husband 58 minutes to go to the bathroom. But you know, I came around and I remember getting my telegram, and I think it definitely changed. I had to apologize up and down the wall because I gave him so much crap. For the crypto stuff. But here we are. I think I've been here every day for about 2.5 years. And I think it's like the community part is huge. So, you know, I was in this corporate setting, and you know, you work and you grind. Mm-hmm. And coming into Web3, and for you, like our other halves, like the community piece is so huge. Because you get to make your decisions. You get to bring out creativity in you that you maybe had stuck down because you didn't get to do that in your 9-to-5. And so anyway, I think that the community part is huge too, right? Like our team in Nigeria, like I check in with these guys every day now, and you just build this community. And you feel this maybe sense of worth, or like things that I never got to do in corporate America for 20 years, right? I just got to do process and follow rules, and it's like a freedom. And I think that's what decentralized finance is too, like that freedom. So yeah, I mean, if she sees tidbits, I don't know, like someone needs to write a book for the other one in the house that's not in the Web3 and crypto, because I get it, because I've come full circle. But so I can empathize with her, and here I am now.
Well, hopefully one day she'll kind of understand it and get into it. I mean, she's on social media all the time, but you know, she's just got to take it to the next level, right? It's just education, and just kind of, you know, showing her slowly but surely, and then she'll start kind of connecting the dots, and maybe she'll gain some interest in it. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think she'll be a bit more. She'll like it a bit more after it pays for a nice Bugatti, or it pays for a Ferrari, and like, oh, okay, I like it.
It might shift the. Yeah. I remember. I think our launch on Ethereum for Sharby was on Valentine's Day.
Oh, wow.
But I wasn't in Sharpie yet. So I remember, because I think it was like a Tuesday. So I had to work, but I came home. And then like later after I joined Sharpie, just a few weeks later, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know. My husband was really good at it. But there was one guy in our DAO that his wife actually locked his phone up in a like a locked case after that Valentine's Day launch, because it was pushed back and it was like everyone was on their phone for like 9-10 hours. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, the Bugatti might do it for sure.
Yeah, maybe one day. We'll see.
100%. That'd be awesome. I think you should also wrap the car with like the Hiney coin, like logo and stuff.
Yeah, license plate and all that, right?
Yeah. So there's been, I feel like I've done nothing but ask you these questions the whole time. What is something that you want to talk about that we haven't yet?
I mean, nothing really. I feel like that's all I do is speak, and quite frankly, I hate public speaking. I've never been a fan of it. So I don't know if this is really considered public speaking, but again, it's about overcoming your fears too, right? I mean, and so that's what one of the things we're trying to help our community do is it takes a lot of courage to get up on the stage and speak, especially if you got a pretty big crowd. And so we really try to advocate, folks to just kind of come up to the stage and overcome any fears or apprehension that they might have. And again, it's just to try and, build confidence and make people successful, not even just Web3, just in their personal lives. Right. So, we're just trying to do that. But as far as anything I have, I mean, if you got any advice, if anybody out there's got any advice or feedback, I'm all ears. Again, I'm just this 9 to 5, or maybe 8 to 6, as I said earlier, guy. And so crypto, these projects are very kind of new to me, and I'm just learning as I go. Luckily, I've got surrounded myself with some pretty bright minds and creative people. And that's what it takes. It's really a village, right? It takes a village. It's a village effort, and that's where we're at. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as if anybody's got any advice or recommendations or feedback, I'm all ears.
I guess it would just be, I mean, you're already working really hard, and you got, that you got the full-time job plus a family try to prevent burnout as much as possible.
Yeah.
But don't, I mean, there's some crazy FUD in the streets right now because, Iran just launched an attack on a couple of bases, and there's like everyone's just dumping. So it went from like 103 on Bitcoin down to like 100. I guess that's the other thing. Like, would you ever get just for like the headline? Would you ever say like, hey, we have now a Bitcoin reserve for Hiney coin, and then just have people talk about it? Like, yeah, this is cool. Like, even though Hiney coin will likely outperform, like maybe Bitcoin goes like 300K, like maybe it does 3x, and Hiney coin will outperform. But would you guys ever do that?
I mean, yeah, all options are on the table. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. The markets are crap, and it's unfortunate. I would just say, hey, there's obviously a lot of tension in the Middle East, and there's a lot of other things going on. We try to really push for just positivity. Let's not let some of this negative sentiment that's going around the world kind of bring us down again, because we have a community. We can come to this community, and if you're down, you can come here, and we can help lift your spirits, make you laugh, whatever you need. So we're really focused on positive vibes and having fun. So hopefully, that'll help you get through, whatever negative things are going around the world.
Agreed. Well, thank you for joining. Let's talk off camera for a little bit. Hold up. You got anything?
No, it was just great meeting you, and I think it's unique what Hiney Coin's doing. The mindset is needed, and like Randy said, if you start to feel that burnout, I think just take a step back and look at where you're putting your energy, because I think burnout comes when you're putting your energy not in the right spots. So
yeah, 100%.
All right. Thank you all, everyone. 145 people that are here. I will catch you all later. There's no dash.